This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing you back a returning guest. He was back on my show back in April the 5th of this year. We're talking about Namaste Technologies. You can find him on the TSX Venture under the ticker symbol N. You also can find him on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol NXTTF. And with us today is one of the co-founders and also Vice President of Business Development, Kory Zelickson. Kory, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, give my new listeners, if you would, an about statement of who you guys are and how you make your money, and then I want to get into the Q&A.
Great, yeah, thank you. So at Namaste Technologies, we consider ourselves to be your everything cannabis store. And we sell everything from vaporizers and rolling papers through to CBD products and consumables. And very soon in the Canadian market, we'll be launching an online medical cannabis marketplace. So our company, even though we have a license, or we will have soon a license to sell cannabis, we're not a cultivator. So we focus primarily on e-commerce technology for cannabis. So it's a bit unique of a business model and something that's going to be new in the Canadian market.
You know, Kory, this is one thing I really do like about your company. It came on my radar, probably about 6 to 9 months ago. In 2016, you guys did $2.6 million in revenue. In 2017, you did $8.7 million. And already the first half of the year of 2018, you guys already done $7.5 million. That being said, how will your business become a leader in the cannabis e-commerce, and how will those revenues continue to grow?
So that's what's really exciting. We're anticipating reaching a run rate of $48 million by December of this year, going into the holiday season and continuing that through into next year. And what's really exciting is that's really only hardware sales for cannabis consumption devices, so vaporizers and accessories. We haven't even integrated actual cannabis sales into our platform yet. So that's going to be the biggest milestone for the company and what will propel growth even beyond what we anticipate for the hardware business in the cannabis space. And what's further to that is that Namaste's database and our operations span across the globe. So we operate over 30 e-commerce websites that are some of the most advanced e-commerce websites online. They incorporate incredible AI technology and are really focused on enhancing the user experience. So what we're doing in Canada with our license with CanMart, which is our subsidiary, that's going to allow us to actually sell cannabis. And as I mentioned, we're not cultivating it. So we don't believe in, it's not that we don't believe, it's a matter of where our expertise lies. Our expertise is in e-commerce and online marketing, and we're not interested in cultivation. We're interested in creating a global platform for cannabis. So Canada is a test market for us because the Canadian market for our hardware business is actually the 5th largest. So if we prove our concept in what we're doing by using telemedicine, we have an application called Namaste MD. So we're the first company in Canada that's digitized the patient acquisition process. So normally medical patients have to go to a physical clinic or a doctor to get a prescription. And then they go and they onboard to a licensed producer to buy their cannabis. We've eliminated the need for clinics and doctors, and we've solved the problem and allowed anybody that has an iPhone or an Android or access to the internet with access to our nurse practitioners to get their prescriptions. That model, the telemedicine model that drives the patient flow into our cannabis channel, our cannabis sales channel, is what we're using with CanMart in Canada to form that relationship. And once we establish that, we can expand that platform in markets around the world. So, for example, the UK, which has been making great strides in legalization, or in Australia, we have enormous markets. We have 1.5 million customers in our database globally.
Wow.
So when you're looking at the cannabis, and when you're looking at cannabis investments and companies in the cannabis space, a lot of what we see in the public markets is limited to Canada or the States, or there's some companies that are cultivators that are developing cultivation operations overseas. But what we represent is the actual consumer side. 1.5 million consumers, all cannabis users in our database that we can leverage as changes of legalization and laws start progressing around the world in emerging markets. So that's what the long-term future potential for Namaste will be over the next several years. Over the next year, in addition to growth in our own existing hardware platform, what you'll likely see is, a massive amount of revenue increase from cannabis sales. So like all the revenue we're doing right now, none of it factors in any cannabis, just in the hardware side. So our license with CanMart, which we should be getting very soon, will be very significant for the company.
There's a lot of competitors out there. I kind of want you to say in your own words, if you could keep it short, what makes you guys different, and also shed some light on this needleless-free injection, what that's all about.
Okay, thank you. In terms of competition, and I'm not just trying to be cheeky about it, but we really don't have any competition. Because there is, and Sean, our CEO, says it all the time, there is no other company like Namaste, not even remotely like Namaste. So, in the past, people would think, well, we're just a vaporizer company, but we're certainly not just a vaporizer company. We have technology platforms. We bought an AI company. We're very focused on innovating technology in the cannabis space, but it's all driven by actual real revenue. And then with our license and what we're doing in Canada, that's a completely unique concept in Canada too. The entire market in Canada right now for medical cannabis works like direct relationships between the patients and a specific cultivator, and there's no marketplace for cannabis. So people don't have access to medicine from different providers in one location. They have to bounce back and forth between different providers to switch their medicine, which is crazy if you think about it, because there's no other industry that works like that. So what we're doing in Canada is very unique, and our model with our structure and our database globally is something very unique. So quite frankly, I can't answer that question because I don't think that we have any competitors exactly in what we're doing. And in regards to the needle-free injector technology, that's an agreement that we have with InnoLife Sciences. They have a very, very amazing technology that eliminates the needs for needles with syringes. And they have lots of applications in other medical areas, including vaccinations, for example. But we have the exclusive rights to research applications of needle-free injector technology for use with medical cannabis. So obviously for severe medical patients, it's important that they can get the cannabis into their system as fast as possible and with as high of a consumption rate as possible. So direct injections into the bloodstream obviously are very powerful, and for medical applications, it's probably the most effective. And for that reason, we find the technology very interesting. So we're going to be engaging with a university in Canada to do a study that will determine the right formulation of cannabis that's required for the devices in order for them to operate effectively and inject cannabis into your bloodstream without a needle.
Could you also maybe shed some light for myself and my listeners about what is your long-term strategy for your company and this agreement that you guys did with YPB in Australia? Okay,
so that's two different questions. Long-term strategy, I kind of outlined earlier, will be to launch cannabis sales into our marketplace and the platform in Canada first, and then we'll be rolling that out. So we're looking at strategic partnerships in other countries that have forms of legal cannabis where we already have very large databases. So we'll be leveraging those relationships to enter into cannabis consumable sales in international markets. That'll be part of our strategy. And also in expanding the platform that we have now to carry more products, more unique products, CBD products as they evolve and they become approved within different regions. So it'll be expansion of our global platform and the integration of cannabis sales directly into our platform too. That'll be the short-term goals for the company, And your other question, I think, was about YPB, which was a company that we did. Yeah, so that's the more time that we spend on that, the more we realize how valuable it is. YPB basically has a technology that uses, and I'm probably not going to explain this as well as I should, but they have a technology that uses UPC codes that can provide authenticity verification for different types of products. So the reason we were initially really interested with it was because in our industry with vaporizers, there's a lot of issues with knockoffs. On some of our sites, the average checkout price for vaporizer is like $150 to $200. And what you get with that, obviously, is a really high-end product. But as a result, they get fake copies of them coming out of China all the time.
Right.
So YPB gives Namaste a solution. So what we're doing is we're approaching all of the vendors in the industry that we work with, that we buy product from, and offering them the solution in partnership with YPB, where they can add a QR code to their box that will allow the customer to scan the QR code when they receive the package, verify it's authentic, go online, get the information, register it with the manufacturer, and have that peace of mind to know that they bought an authentic product, which is very exciting for our business. And for me, what is even more exciting about it is applications and using it for authenticity verification with actual cannabis. So if you follow the Canadian market and how we're going to be rolling out recreational cannabis across the country, each of the individual provinces is left up to determining how they're going to roll out rec within that province. So just about a week ago, the Ontario government came out with guidelines and information on how they're going to be rolling it out. For example, they want to have a security seal for the Ontario government on every single package that will tell people that it's an authentic product that's been approved and is legal according to the Ontario government. Well, think about that, right? That's a holographic sticker they want to use. But think about how much more powerful it would be in using a YPB QR code so that that person can not only know that their cannabis is authentic and legal, when they scan it at home, they picks it up and the QR code pops right up on their phone. They could have information on all the terpene profiles, the cannabinoid content, the THC, the CBD, all the information, the consumer information that they would want to have on that strain could be available in a QR code scanned that way. It would also provide the level of authenticity that the provincial government wants.
That's awesome.
So for us, yeah, I mean, applications like some of the technology that we've integrated and incorporated, including YPB, serve applications outside of our own scope, right? So we're looking at an angle in that context now with other technologies as well that we can leverage to help benefit the launch of recreational cannabis throughout the country within each of the provinces too. We really believe that our technology would be great value to them too. So we're working on a couple strategic initiatives in that capacity now too.
Kory, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I wish you guys nothing but continued success. Hopefully you'll come back on the show here in about 40 or 50 days and give us an update.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and definitely enjoy coming on the show. And if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.